if somebody can take our brand back and represent Indiana, that's important to us.
They're not just buying candles that are made in China and bringing them over here.
We want to be the company that we want to shop at ourselves.
What was the most surprising piece to owning a candle business that you didn't expect going in? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Today I'm joined by Justin Burkhart, the owner of Warm Glow Candle Company, a family-run business known for its handcrafted candles made right here in Indiana. You may have seen their 40-foot tall candle on I-70 East when you're headed towards our friends in Ohio. With a background in sales, healthcare, and business management, Justin combines his entrepreneurial drive with his role as city councilman to light the way for economic growth and community initiatives. Today, we're going to be talking about your entrepreneurial spark and what led you to want to take ownership of a family-owned candle company. What's on the radar? Are there any cool new releases and what's coming up with Warm Glow? And I'm excited to get into it. Justin, welcome to Get In.
Man, thanks for having me.
Dude, I am really excited about this. So the backstory goes, I posted about Warm Glow on my Instagram story maybe a month or so ago.
Yeah.
And I got like maybe no less than 30 people saying that it's like an institution when you're headed on 70 towards like Columbus, Dayton area, that like you have to stop by there. And I had just seen this massive 40-foot candle and I was like, this place looks sweet, but I actually have not made it out to the store yet. I'm going to go out sometime this spring or summer.
We'd love to have you.
So, I mean, I didn't realize that this was so well known. I mean, a lot of people have commented and talked about the candle. What I want to know is, how did you end up at the seat, in the ownership seat of Warm Glow Candle Company?
Early beginnings of 1996, founded by the Carberry family in Centerville, Indiana, had built this institution, as you called it, of making candles. They were early in antiques and things like that. The distinct look of the candle itself, the lumpy, bumpy exterior. And so
Lumpy, bumpy exterior.
That's exactly what we call it. So that is a hearth candle.
What does hearth candle mean?
So what we call that size of candle burns for approximately 120 hours.
When he's talking, for the people watching at home,
yes,
this is what we're talking about. This is the blueberry cobbler, and it's heavenly.
Which is a staple. It's classic known. The look is like really no other candle.
Yeah, usually candles are smooth.
They're usually smooth, and a lot of times, at least today, they're in some sort of vessel, a glass jar, a tin, something like that. The Carberrys created this product and sold it all over the country, and people just absolutely fell in love with the fragrances.
Okay, so few questions here.
Yeah.
One, why isn't it smooth?
Well, I mean, it's a classic country looking candle, and so we can get into the process of how we make it, but that is really the over dip from the dippers internally that make that, and very much like other brands that will dip bottles into wax, you can really tell a lot of times who dipped that candle by the way it's dipped.
No way.
So, a lot of times you'll see maybe a little bit more bumpy on the sides or a little bit more bumpy on top. And usually we can trace that back to who did that.
No way. So do you have a guess on who this is?
Yeah, that looks like Jimmy, who's been with us for about 4 years and a really good dipper. So that candle is relatively less bumpy on the sides and has a little bit of a topper there. But,
that's crazy
it's really an art and a craft. And so as we talk about internally on that, we picture these candles on folks' table at home and during dinner or Thanksgiving dinner and so we want to be a part of those memories you're making at home.
Yeah. And so the company started out in Centerville in 1996, grew this, I like how you call it like a country style. Is that
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a Midwestern candle company. Very proud to be made in America and very proud to be made in Indiana.
Yeah.
And so fast forward 28 years later, Jackie had invited me to explore an opportunity as that generation is getting a little older. I was invited to explore this opportunity of running the company for her and then buying the company. My candle experience was extremely limited at the time.
You said you picked it up as like a COVID craft hobby?
Yeah, so it was a craft hobby, a midlife crisis, even though I haven't hit midlife yet. But I was interested in the craft of putting something together and then enjoying it once it was done and made.
Yeah.
So, and then I would ask Jackie from time to time, I'm getting a little bit of this, or I'm having issues with this. And so she would tell me, your wax is a little too hot, or your wax is a little too cold. And so that's where we established that relationship. And then that relationship went on for some time until she invited me to be a part of the company.
And you came in, what was your first role with the company?
My first role was the CEO.
So you came in just like ready to rock?
Yep. So she, come run the company, ask questions, be running this while I'm transitioning into retirement. And, the rest is history. So in October of 2023, my wife and I purchased the company from them. And, we are in a way really putting our touch on it.
Okay, so for people that may not know, that they might think that it's just like a craft shop out on I-70, right? It's like you have a manufacturing facility. Like they're not just buying candles that are made in China and bringing them over here.
Yeah.
You have a manufacturing facility out in Centerville that employs how many people?
We have approximately 40 people that work with us, and our manufacturing facility is about 80,000 square feet. And so we produce multiple sizes. We have about 75 fragrances that are current in our line. And yes, we make for our store. We make for other customers around the country. But we also make for some popular companies, too, that are recognizable. Texas Roadhouse, Blue Buffalo, Dog Food, and my alma mater, Miami University in Oxford, Ohio.
Oh, really? You make candles for them?
So we make candles for them. And then, I always tell people this too, that we can make them look like anything. We can make them smell like anything. So I was concerned when Blue Buffalo came to us because I thought, a dog food smelling candle. That's not what they wanted. They wanted the blueberry cobbler. Going back to Miami University, at Miami, we had an iconic toasted roll, which is this bready cinnamon, powdered sugar treat, and they wanted a candle that smelled like the toasted roll. So we made a red candle that smelled like the toasted roll. There were a lot of variations, add more cinnamon, add more bread. And so we finally got to a place where they wanted to be. And so we can really make candles smell like anything.
We have to dive into that.
Yeah.
So who on the team has like the expert palate?
Yeah.
That can be like, yes, blueberry, or not even blueberry cobbler, but like toasted roll.
Yeah.
Who's like smelling it and then being the like Rosetta Stone of scents to make that happen in a fragrance?
It can't just be one person. It's a combination of a lot of us talking and really going through all this because smell is very subjective. So, when someone says, boy, that really smells incredible, other people might say, I don't smell it at all.
See, I would say you have, we haven't even burnt this one.
Yeah.
And it's just very, I mean, it's like doing a good job of putting the blueberry cobbler into the room right now, even though we haven't lit it.
Yeah. And, and that's another part of it too, is that, and we can dive into that later as well, but the quality. Oftentimes, we will say made in China, things like that. But not only are we proud to be made in America, but we're also proud to work on each one of these products that go out the door, that it's something that we're proud of and something that we would want in our own home. So to put something together and send it out and just be done with it is not something we're interested in. And so even when a customer isn't satisfied, we take care of them 100% of the time because start to finish, we want to be the company that we want to shop at ourselves.
I love that. So. And I think that in the world, I just had Martha Hoover on. She was a founder of Cafe Patachu, and she talked about value.
Yeah.
And when your perception of value is the most quantity
Yeah.
for the least amount of money,
Right.
then like yes, that's where the made in China scale economy works. But when your when your idea of value becomes the most quality,
Yes.
for a fair price,
Yeah.
it just like works up the value equation. So I thought that's super interesting.
Yeah.
40 employees in the manufacturing facility. How many candles per day? Like 40 people working on these
Yeah.
wax candles. How many what's the output of that?
So we can make up to 15,000 candles a day in our facility. And again, you look at this and nothing is automated to date. All this is hand poured, hand dipped. We then are pulling them from the tables, moving them down the line. And there is a human start to finish handling each one of these candles.
Okay, take us through the build process of a candle.
So the way this starts is that we'll pour into a mold, and what that looks like is we're combining the wax in its natural form along with fragrance oil and color. And so all that has to mix together, and it all has to mix together and so this is chemistry here, so that the wax will accept both of those substances without rejecting them. And then you want to make sure that the stir in your bucket is well done, because you want to make sure that the fragrance is distributed all the way through and not sink down to the bottom. So we pour into the mold. From there, because this isn't a quick thing and we have to have the wax then harden. The next
How long
day-
does that take? Oh, so 24 hours?
Yeah, usually 24 hours. It's weather dependent too, because when it's cold outside and a little draftier, the wax will set up quicker. When it's 100 degrees outside, the wax doesn't want to set up because it's enjoying the heat. So, usually about 24 hours. So the next day we'll pull them from the molds, and then from there we will drill them and wick them. So now you've got this candle that is not bumpy, and it already has its first layer of color and fragrance. And so from there, then it goes down to dipping. And from dipping, we have our individuals that are putting that bumpy look on there.
So is there like a stick or something that this like how do they get it in the wax? And
So the wick is about this tall, and it's got a knot at the top. And so they are holding on to the wicks as they go in. So then from there, once they have 2 or 3 dips on top of it to make it that lumpy, bumpy look, it will go into bagging, and where the wick is trimmed and it goes through quality, the wick is straight, and then they go into the bags, and then they go into finished product. So start to finish, like on a Monday, that we can have that ready on Wednesday for you. So it's not a quick process, and so you're always working ahead. But like I said, right now we have about 70 fragrances, following the spring, summer trends and then the fall, winter trends. And so we'll start making for Christmas time around June.
So you've been now leading the company for going on 3 years?
Yeah. So, and really just in the ownership seat, just a little over a year. So
What was the most surprising piece to owning a candle business that you didn't expect going in?
retail is hard. Retail is really hard. And I
Like
think
owning a retail store?
yes. Yeah.
What makes it hard?
It's very seasonal, and as we talked about earlier, when it's 0 degrees outside and snowing, not a lot of people want to leave the sweatpants and the couch to come and shop at the store. A lot of weather dependent, and also too, we are heavy at Christmas time, fall and Christmas, but there's not a lot of shoppers out in the first quarter, so you have to have the quality that we talked about, the value. And then you also, the customer service piece is everything to our business. We have to make an environment for everyone. Yeah, I'd say the retail side is really hard. And, the most enjoyable piece to all this, and also probably the most complex, is the people, is the employees, because not one employee is like the other. And so, to instill that quality, that value, and these family-led principles, you got to get everybody on the same page.
And when you started to come in, take over, and then take ownership, were the tenured employees a little bit nervous? Like, who is this new guy with no candle experience coming in here?
Yeah, I think everybody was. Very worried because it's also heavily female driven as well. So, what is this young guy doing? And only time has built trust and
and you can't like fast forward. You can't simulate that and speed it up. You got to like put in the time and get to know people, meet them where they are.
Absolutely. And so it took a lot of time in each station to understand exactly what everyone was doing and how they were doing it and why they were doing it.
What advice would you have for people out there that are coming into this new role and maybe whether it's leadership or leading a new team or whatever that might be, to start to build that trust? And what were the strategies or principles that you instilled and you took with you when you started at Warm Glow?
Yeah. You have to lead with being genuine and to really stop and understand that each person that walks through the door has got a different situation at home. And each person that walks through the door has a different motivation when they clock in. And so not everybody has this on the line like our family does. But to understand and get to know each individual person, if that's possible for the person in that role. And then just to see what the barriers are that they face every day, so that you're not basically calling the shots from miles away, but you are right there in the trenches with them. And then I also, you don't, it's that age old, you don't ask anybody to do something you wouldn't do yourself. And so being there to take out the trash and to crush the cardboard and to drive the truck out to the store and to really sit in the seats of all these individuals and to understand that. And then, to be able to get to know them too, celebrate birthdays with one another and to really make it a company that not only you'd want to shop with, but you'd want to work with too. Because as a millennial, there's other motivations than money. Success is also happiness. And to wake up every day feeling energized that I'm going to go make a product that I can sell to people around the globe. And that gets me excited. It also gets me excited to do it with people that, you care about too.
Yeah, I think like the number one way to fail when you're coming into a new team is to come in and be like, I have all these great ideas. Let's change everything. Yeah. Like, because it's almost like disrespectful too of like, this thing that got you these past 28 years, broken, need to fix it all. And it's like going through there and actually like slow, because the one thing people don't want to do is change. Everybody hates change, right?
Scary.
And then, but it's like, if you get them to buy in and believe in you, then it's like, okay, maybe there are more efficient ways to do shipping or more efficient ways to sell or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if the people that are doing the work don't believe you and don't trust you.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's really the manufacturing side. And then you go out to the store on the retail side of things, and then you start analyzing even the partners. For example, we have a coffee shop. And so we were brewing and still brewing Boston Stoker Coffee, which is a family-owned company in Dayton, Ohio. And so I wanted to make sure that that is a relationship we wanted to move forward with. So I went over to Boston Stoker and learned to make coffee there with them. And so ethically sourcing, ethics are a big thing in coffee production. And so it was important to me that they were doing the right things too. And so, I have not only spent time with the people in our company understanding their roles, but then also the partners that we're bringing on like Boston Stoker and making sure that they are representing us the same.
So give us a rough gauge on how much you guys are doing through, or like what % of the business is through the retail store out on 70 where you see the massive candle versus what is with partnerships like the Blue Buffalo dog food.
Yeah.
And then what's just like e-commerce shipped online, like percentage breakdown?
Yeah. So in its origin, a lot of people will enter into our brand by way of I-70 and exit 145.
How many billboards you guys have along I-70?
Oh, 10 maybe. And we've got some funny ones too that we're changing out and freshening up. The shirtless cowboy holding one of our candles. Our billboards that explain that we have the cleanest bathrooms on I-70. And then pictures of chocolate and Indiana wines and beers that we also sell as well. But a lot of people enter our company through the retail store on 70. And in the summertime and in the fall, there are a lot of travelers out there. And so we see license plates from every 50 states on a weekly basis probably. And it's really cool to hear the stories. We were blessed that we caught a lot of Swifties back this last year going to the Taylor Swift concert here in Indianapolis.
You got a bunch of Swifties all the way. So Taylor Swift's economic impact of her conference even touched Centerville, Indiana.
Absolutely. So I have become an Ohio State fan, a Penn State fan, and very grateful for Taylor Swift because we get a lot of their traffic going back and forth, concerts in Indianapolis. So you picture someone who lives in Columbus, Ohio, that maybe their favorite artist is coming to Indy, but not Columbus. So they will come through, and we are a favorite stop along the way. So never did I think I'd be a Buckeye fan or a Nittany Lion fan, but when those people come in, I'm glad they're there.
We're fans for the day. Who's your faithful out there? We're fans for the day.
Fans for the day.
Though Columbus is a big city and they have some good stuff going on, I do think Lucas Oil and some you get those bigger shows here, or it's either they have to go to Indy, they have to go to Cincinnati, probably for the biggest ones.
Right. So and that's the reason why Taylor Swift picked Indianapolis over. I don't think she stopped in Columbus. I'm not quite sure.
No, she didn't.
The Motor Speedway. The All-Star Game, things like that.
That's crazy to me. How many miles away is Centerville from Indianapolis?
Roughly 60 to 65.
It's like her concert's making an economic impact 70, 65 miles out.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that I'm an avid Taylor Swift listener, but I absolutely appreciated the 3-day stop in Indy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other partnerships? Well, I guess we're back to the breakdown, right?
Yeah,
so the majority of business is comes through the retail door.
Yeah. Comes through the retail door. And then we have really focused outbound because we really believe in our product, and we candles are everywhere. And so we are trying and working really hard at getting our candles in every state and to work on that distribution game. So we are working on that. But yeah, I mean, in its origin, a lot of people come through our retail store first.
That's wild, because I feel like today, modern business, it's all e-commerce first.
And so you follow our Facebook page, our Instagram page. We have a lot of great things posted there, a lot of good interactions with our customers, our fans, things like that. But, and that was one thing that I considered too in taking this over was, is the physical retail space healthy? And what is the long term? Because Amazon, Walmart has really grown in that space.
Are you guys available on Amazon?
No. Through third party, yes. But not from us. But you know what though? I think that everything comes back around, and I also think that if your product is good enough, people will come.
Well, and the hardest part to build, like the stickiness of a physical space on I-70 with a 40-foot candle and the cleanest bathrooms on I-70, that stickiness is impossible to replicate.
Yeah.
Like I could go start a e-commerce candle shop and drop ship from China tomorrow, and it's only as good as your last Instagram ad or your last Facebook ad. But at this point, I'm guessing hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of guests. What do you think that number is? Millions of guests over 30 years?
Oh yeah,
1 million guests.
I'd say over. Yeah, because I think hundreds of thousands of cars pass by Interstate 70, and and we have a great fall festival, great spring open house, great Christmas open house, which we have an influx of people. But yeah, I would say that number has got to be over 1 million. And, and it's really just having something there for everybody. And, you think candles, maybe you think feminine. But we also have Indiana beers and wines there from great places. Easley Winery actually makes blueberry cobbler warm glow wine for us. So the Easley is wonderful. We work with 450 North. We work with Guardian and Muncie.
What's Guardian?
Guardian Brewery. So it's a Ball State beer. So we have a lot of great partners. We love being in the Hoosier State.
Well, I was gonna say, what are some of the partnerships that you're waiting? Like that would be awesome for you if you could do a candle / blank collab, warm glow / who collab.
I have a lot of family history with the Motor Speedway.
Oh,
So when you had the episode focusing on the Motor Speedway, man, to have Warm Glow there, a part of really the Indianapolis 500.
the burnt rubber scent.
I don't know about that. Yeah, no, I don't know about that. But to see our name there associated specifically would be even cooler. I love the Indiana drivers at Carpenter.
Yeah. Oh, and they made some big moves with Splenda and Java House and Heartland Food Packaging and all that stuff. Could you do a checkered flag candle?
Absolutely. So we've been toying around. The state pie is sugar cream pie. So this year, we talk about some of our new fragrances. We went into a sugar cream pie, which is just delightful. But when the eclipse was here, we made a special eclipse candle, which was sugar cream pie, because we wanted our guests from outside of Indiana to leave knowing a little bit more about Indiana. Yeah. But yeah, checkered flag, some sort of brick, as the art of bricks. I don't know what that would smell like, but I would love to. My master's degree is from Indiana University. Both my parents graduated from Purdue, so I am Indiana through and through.
Yeah, maybe like a charcoal grill or like a cookout.
Yeah,
that would be. I don't know if you could make a candle smell like a cookout, but
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
When the Indy 500 or whatever the This Is May candle comes out, we're gonna have to definitely get that pushed out. That's gonna be awesome. Yeah. And it's like there's other partnerships like you talk about. So you have blueberry cobbler warm glow wine.
We do, yeah. So Easley Winery in Indianapolis is a great partner of ours. They also have some routes that go through Wayne County, which is where Centerville is.
Yeah.
And so we partnered with them. They made blueberry cobbler wine for us that has the picture of our store on there. We're currently working with them on the next line of what we're going to do. We have talked to a couple breweries about some warm glow beer. We have a lot of people that come through our store and they want to take something home to their friends from Indiana. So, it's to me, I see us as not a fly-by state, but a real staple on the crossroads of America. And so if somebody can take our brand back and represent Indiana, that's important to us.
Hey Hoosiers, let me tell you about Keller & Keller, a respected Indiana-based law firm that's here for all of us, from Evansville up to South Bend. They've been serving Hoosiers since 1936, and they really know what it means to fight for the community. These guys have recovered over $1 billion for their clients. Yes, that's billion with a B. That's a serious track record of getting results. And here's something that should really make your wallet feel good. They have a zero-fee guarantee. That means you don't pay a dime unless they win your case. Talk about peace of mind when you're hiring a lawyer. So if you've been injured here in the Hoosier State, don't hesitate to call 1-800-2-KELLER to get the support and guidance you need. They mean business. Now let's get back into the episode. Absolutely. And I love to hear you're thinking about it that way versus we just want to sell trinkets to people coming by on the highway.
So if just a true story here, we had a couple come through. They live in Washington, D.C. The lady was from Connorsville, and she stopped at our store with her husband, and they wanted to bring back Indiana beer to Washington, D.C., their friends, to say, here is something from my state, my home state. So, that, and we take that into mind when we're making these candles because, when you take it back to where you live now, that represents all of us in my mind. And not only Warm Glow, but it represents Indiana. As you said, city councilmen too. I've had a couple lunches with Mr. Braun, and we are very vocal in Wayne County because we feel like we are an asset in the state, and this is a very important state amongst the 50 states. So very proud to be a Hoosier.
Well, so you're over Wayne County.
Yeah.
That's like Centerville. Is Richmond Wayne County?
Richmond
is that
Wayne
the
County.
seat?
So it is. So we have Richmond, the Red Devils.
Yeah.
And Centerville Bulldogs, and then we've got Hagerstown and Cambridge City as well.
Yeah. What's that area of the state, that like far east corridor? Like what are you guys known for over there?
Yeah, so East Central Indiana, obviously we are right on I-70, and we right now are really known. We have a lot of pet food manufacturing.
Really?
We talked about Blue Buffalo. Blue Buffalo is actually our physical neighbor at Warm Glow. Oh. Incredible stuff and employment and things that they're doing there. Liberation Labs is going to be an incredible startup that's building there right now that will recycle some of those products. And then we have Hills Pet Nutrition.
So big dog food.
And Purina, which does like exotic food. So
exotic food,
like monkey food, zebra food, things like that.
Wait, but like this is Purina, like they make dog food also, but the area out in Wayne County makes exotic pet food.
Correct.
Or
correct.
Exotic animal food.
Yes, yeah. So
monkey and zebra food,
like zoo food. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I had no idea of that.
Yeah.
So Wayne County is a animal food hotbed.
Yeah.
And candles, of course.
And candles,
when you're working with animal food, you definitely need the candles to help out there.
But I'd be remiss to not mention we have Richmond Baking Company, which makes a lot of foods for bigger brands too. So
like when you say foods for bigger brands,
I think cookies for brands that you'd recognize on the shelves.
Oh, okay. So they're like a bakery that helps bake for brands on the shelf.
Sure.
I got you.
So
isn't it funny how that works? Like so many big brands are just in charge of like the marketing, and everyone else does the actual physical production.
That's right. And I think we'd all be surprised if we learned more from where these come from.
I mean, I had Dan Kidd on. He's like a bourbon influencer. And he talked about MGP in Lawrenceburg makes so many Kentucky bourbons right here in Indiana. It's like, that's wild.
Well, and not to get off that, but I think MGP sources these barrels for those companies. And so when you think you're getting something that was raised right there, it could be actually sourced from somewhere else.
Yeah. It's interesting. Okay. So I love that. Animal food and Warm Glow and bourbon and bakery and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So from city council, like how do you manage being a public servant as well as running a company there? And is that challenging? Is there is there just like not a conflict of interest necessarily, but just like a scale that, how do you balance that?
Well, and it's easier because our business is in Centerville and I'm on the Richmond City Council. Mm. So, but with that said, I feel like giving back is important to our family. Giving back, I would hope, is a part of everybody's life journey at some point. And being a public servant, I was born and raised in Richmond. And so...
Are you a Red Devil?
I'm a Red Devil.
There we go.
I'm a Red Devil. And, and then I've got 3 kids. And
do they all go to Richmond?
They all go to Richmond. And my wife also a Red Devil.
Man, so is that kind of like, we're going to the rival to take over the candle company.
Yeah. So, going back a little ways, Richmond Red Devils don't really cross over to the Centerville Bulldogs, but now we're absolutely Bulldog fans too. And as you get older, you realize that it's all very fun. And very much like the Purdue IU thing, being raised in a Purdue house and having a degree from IU, we are so incredibly blessed to have so many great universities here in the state. And so when you can step back and look at things like that, but the city council piece, it was a way to help our local community. And then you realize that there are a lot of different opinions as far as what people want to accomplish. And so, but then they're not all business-minded people either. Like other communities in Indiana, we are aging. We have lost different companies. And so we are learning what that's like to build ourselves back up.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot of us.
I try to get a good spread from around the state, right? Like leaders from Evansville, leaders from Richmond, Centerville, South Bend, Fort Wayne. But I mean, just being in Indianapolis, I have a lot of Indianapolis business leaders that come on. And one thing they're always talking about is like talent attraction development. That's like their big problem. Yeah. For you as a rural Indiana business owner, what are the biggest problems that you're facing, and how are you thinking of solutions to solve those problems?
Well, yeah, that's a loaded question because we have the same problems that everyone else does,
but almost like a degree of magnitude, right? And that's I'm from a small town in northern Indiana, right? And it's like I went to college and I didn't go back. Yeah, you know, I stayed down here in Indianapolis and have built my career here. Yeah, and I don't think that's probably that uncommon for Centerville or Richmond, you know?
No.
And you end up exporting your valedictorian or whatever, and they move to Indianapolis or Dayton or Cincinnati.
Well, there's a lot of opportunities here in Indianapolis. You know, there's a lot of different, also, and opportunities, not just in the workforce, but also nightlife and shopping, things like that. So it's the whole picture of quality of life. And it's something that Indianapolis, is a magnet and pulls these people in, and rightfully so. But the key part is, I think, in rural areas like ours, is how can we be the place for people that don't necessarily want those things.
They don't want the nightlife. They're cool with the brown jug hanging out there.
We have the brown jug. Yeah. We've got some great places too. I mean, you know, agriculture is a big thing where we are. And then when you realize that it's only an hour drive to get to Keystone, to get to some of these incredible places, St. Elmo's. Shout out, which I have never been to St. Elmo's. It is a bucket list. So when I saw you making the famous shrimp cocktail,
oh my, we have to. All right, next time we get you in town.
So please invite me,
and Andrea,
please,
Bryn, make that happen, please. The owner of Warm Glow Candle Company in Centerville. We'll do a jersey swap, right? Like you get some steak and they get some candle. Steak flavored scented candle.
Yeah, we can do that. I'm not sure that's an even trade because the steak there, I've heard, is the best.
We got to get this solved. Okay, we're gonna set that up. Okay, so but to the problems, right? Like you know, after a week of work, what's occupying your weekend capacity running a candle company in rural Indiana?
It's always family. And so 3 kids at home, younger. We're running all over the place. We're also avid Miami Redhawks fans. And so being 25 minutes from the campus there.
Oh, you're only 25 minutes from Oxford?
So we are East Central Indiana, right on the Ohio line, and Oxford is just right there.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So we have season tickets to football, basketball, hockey. And our sports are getting better, football and basketball.
I love that you preface that we're getting better.
Mid-American Conference is great, but we're getting better.
So nothing like the old school Tuesday night Maction football.
Maction, yeah. And you sometimes will see our family amongst the 12 other people in the freezing snow at Yager Stadium on a late Tuesday night when the kids have school on Wednesday morning. But you love it, and it's in your blood. So we oftentimes will run down there for a game. But it's all about family. But you're always taking calls from the things that are happening out at the retail store. And you're also working on, I'm working on the city council. I'll say opportunities, not problems. And
Yes, opportunities.
and just really enjoying time because, our time is short here on earth. And so just really living life and taking every opportunity as it comes.
Yeah. And when you think, I do want to just keep pulling this thread just a little bit of what's the population of Centerville?
A few thousand.
Right. What's the population of Richmond?
About 30,000.
30. Okay. Richmond's that's decent size.
Yeah. And so Wayne County is 100,000. So Wayne County is relatively large, but it's spread out too.
And so as you think of these opportunities for business owners in rural Indiana, what are the big initiatives and opportunities that you're hearing out on that east side of the state?
Yeah.
And what are ways maybe that the rest of the state can support East Central Indiana?
So I'll give you two. So number one, we are blessed beyond belief to have Interstate 70 in our backyard. So when you manufacture something, it can get on a truck and be on the highway in about 3 minutes. And then we are even more blessed that about 30 miles away is Interstate 75 going north to south in Dayton. We are on the crossroads of America.
Yeah, that's interesting as you think of where to position whether it's manufacturing or logistics or whatever. The fact that you can get a candle on a truck and from your sort of 3 minute onto a major interstate. That's
that runs east to west and north to south there on 75. Then I hear things like there's some Indiana government that is wanting to make I-70 a toll road. And because a lot of people drive through our state and they want to collect those monies. And it's that's what I think makes I-70 more special than some of the highways in Chicago, because when you have toll roads pop up on your GPS, you try to avoid them. And so I don't want people avoiding Indiana. And
especially not avoiding Warm Glow, right?
Especially the candle company. Yeah, no, and that's selfish. That's a selfish plug. But
that's so true. Granted, I don't know how much money. I mean, a toll road's going to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
But it's this is a 30-year-old company where it's if they put toll roads on, that would definitely hurt your business.
Yeah. And so I have talked to Mike Braun and I know that it's all very political and things like that. But Indiana is very special. So when I'm at trade shows in Kansas City and Wisconsin, I'm proud to say that we're made.
Do you go to the candle industry trade shows or what kind of trade shows?
Then you kind of sound dorky because I'm going to the Candle World Congress in May, and we're a part of the National Candle Association.
The Candle World Congress.
Yeah, so
Heck yeah.
I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of cool people there.
Dude, you're there. Come on.
Yeah. So I'm picturing something from The Office and Michael Scott.
Yeah, right.
The paper convention, but no, it's just candles with not only the sense of smell can bring memories. One of the special things about Warm Glow is that we are very food fragrance heavy. A lot of memories can tie back to grandma's brownie, or we have birthday cake, which I worked on especially with buttercream, and I love buttercream. And so to really bring those notes out, and one of our newest fragrances is Coffee House. And I had that going in our house the other day, and I asked my wife if she liked it, and she said, "I love it, but now I want coffee." So it's very
and it's like that scent can take you back to a place.
Yeah,
it's like here's a tip, brownie point, gentlemen.
Yes.
Let's say there was a dessert that you and your significant other shared early on in your relationship. You pick up a Warm Glow candle that's brownie or blueberry cobbler. Yeah. It's or you take that to your grandma and it's hey grandma, this made me think of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or girlfriend, this made me think of you. Boom.
And so we have candles, but then we also have wax melts. We have room sprays. We can be that fragrance company for you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a live flame.
I love it, man. Well, you're talking about you're going to the Candle World Congress in May?
The World Candle Congress. Yeah.
You also have a big event coming up. Is it May 2nd through the 4th of 2025, your spring open house?
So that's our spring open house. We've got a large tent, half off sale. We always bring in local food trucks that we diversify for you, so you can have Mexican food and treats and things like that. I mean, so a great diversity in those food trucks, and it's strategically positioned right in front of Mother's Day, because if you're a good son like me, you wait until the last second. And so, right in front of Mother's Day, and to kick us off into the spring, summer. So,
Wait, what day is Mother's Day?
So it is the following weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you go out on the 4th.
Yes.
Or you could order online.
Or you can order online.
You can order Warm Glow online.
Yeah.
But Mother's Day is the 11th.
Yes.
You need to get out there. The 2nd through the 4th, you're doing discounts. You're going to have, it's going to be
50% off. Yeah.
Load up the kids. Go out to Centerville.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's what I did look this up because you have so many billboards.
Yeah.
So it's exit 145.
That's right.
Off of I-70. Come on now.
That's right. So and we, more than just candles. Like I said, we have beer and wine. We have fudge. We have.
Where's the fudge from?
It is from Chocolate Moonshine, but another Indiana plug. We have Goods candies, and so look up Goods. Goods is an Indiana staple, Pendleton, and so we carry Goods candies in our coffee shop as well.
Goods Candies has been producing mouth-watering confections for nearly 100 years. Produced in small batches and using only premium ingredients, we believe you'll taste the difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
those look
prior
really
to
good.
getting to Warm Glow, I look like Channing Tatum. And now being a taste tester,
Yes.
I don't look like that anymore.
Quick pause to tell you about one of my new favorite spots in Indianapolis, Back 9 Golf. If you haven't been yet, you're missing out. This is the perfect way to get your swings in no matter what the weather's like outside. This place isn't your average golf range. It's a full-blown experience. Locally owned, locally operated, these guys are all about bringing the community together for a good time. They've got climate-controlled bays, great food, live music, and a bar that keeps the drinks flowing. And if you're looking for a place to host an event, birthday, corporate outing, bachelor party, Back 9 is the spot. They know how to throw down and make sure your crew has an unforgettable time. So next time you're looking for a night out that's more than just another bar, head to Back 9. Swing some clubs, grab some drinks, and support a business that's keeping it local. Check them out at back9golf.com or just pull up and see what all the hype's about. Tell them you heard about it on Get In. Man, I love it. I think it's been, it's fun. We're coming down to the portion where we're going to do the lightning round, where I have some fun fragrance and beyond questions for you.
Yeah.
I will say, like, May 2nd through the 4th, 2025, there's spring open house. You're going to have the 50% off tent, home decor, garden items, linens, pet items, more gourmet food, beer and wine, food trucks. Exit 145, you'll see the big ass candle.
Oh, you'll see the big ass candle. Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for the lightning round.
Okay.
So you talked about one thing I heard you say earlier was we have amazing universities here, right? And we're going to name 3. Okay. We're going to say my alma mater is DePauw. I love DePauw. I'm not going to include you on this. We're saying Notre Dame, IU, Purdue.
Yeah.
The big 3. What scent reminds you of each of those schools? Notre Dame, Indiana University, Purdue University.
Do we want to talk about the scent of Terre Haute too?
Oh.
So Terre Haute.
I would love to talk about the scent of Terre Haute.
So when I think of Purdue, I think of Harry's Chocolate Shop. I think of Triple X root beer.
So what's the warm glow scent you'd recommend there?
I'm gonna call Triple X, and I'm gonna try to put together a vanilla root beer scent for Purdue. There's an alcoholic drink, a Boilermaker, which I don't know what is in that. At least off the top of my head, I'm going with Triple X.
Yeah. So like a root beer or like the chocolate, you said vanilla root beer flavor?
Yeah,
that would be a good one.
Yeah, so I'm going with that. IU and Bloomington. Bloomington, I automatically think of not only Candy Stripe, but I also think of some of the local nightlife there too. I'm thinking of something fun and...
Ooh, I have a good one, I think.
What do you think?
Strawberry parfait. Red, white, IU.
I like it with the Candy Stripe.
It's fun. And like the image you have on here is very like, it looks like the basketball pants.
Okay, so I'll go with that.
Strawberry parfait.
Yeah. And, oh, man. And then Notre Dame and South Bend.
Now, if you think about the vibe of Notre Dame, right? Distinguished, educational,
Yeah.
People don't even know that it's in Indiana usually.
Yeah.
What warm glow candle scent are you mixing with Notre Dame? Or what reminds you of Notre Dame?
I'd probably go with caramel corn because of the gold dip that's on top of there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The other one I was like thinking about like what one looked the most like elegant.
Yeah.
Like when I think of like tradition. And,
Yeah.
You know,
So-
God, country, Notre Dame.
Yeah, so Serenity, I think would be a really good one there. We got Wild Fig and Honey, which is new, immaculate, distinguished.
Like Birchwood Brandy.
Birchwood Brandy.
That just seems like I'm an alumni of the University of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
All right, that was a fun one. Thank you for obliging me on that. So wait, final ones. What scent of warm glow candle reminds you of Notre Dame, IU, Purdue?
Why don't we do Birchwood Brandy
For Notre Dame?
Strawberry Parfait for IU. I'm going to go with maybe Ma and Pa Kettle Corn.
Ooh, that's a Purdue.
For Purdue.
Ma and Pa Kettle Corn. I love that. That's agricultural based.
And I didn't mean to hate on Terre Haute.
Tell me about the scent of Terre Haute.
So Terre Haute has a very distinct smell.
I mean, that's the Wabash River, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but my sister is a graduate of Indiana State University.
Wow, literally one of the top things that people said is, why does Terre Haute smell funny?
Yeah.
They say a wastewater treatment plant, paper mills, and a creosote plant.
Yeah, I always heard the paper plant. But
if anyone from Terre Haute can tell us what is up with the scent, we're not hating, we're just asking questions here.
It's just a different scent.
Someone's got to answer these questions. Yeah. Okay, when you think through all the scents you offer for Warm Glow, what's your all-time favorite if you could only have one for the rest of your life?
I'm going to go with Serenity. Food fragrances make me hungry. And I guess I'll plug this. Anthropology has the volcano candle that's like $70 for this candle, but it's this very nice, clean, nice tones, some vanilla, some sandalwood. That's what Serenity is. Serenity is a really nice, you're going to have people over and you don't want a food fragrance, but it's all white. So it's a really nice, elegant look, and it will fill your house with very clean scents.
Also, I do like the idea of like a peaceful, like I love this blueberry cobbler candle, but too much of it, and I'm gonna need to go get some dessert. Is there a fragrance that you thought would crush it that didn't? And on the backside, is there a fragrance that crushes it that you can't believe it sells so much?
So I'll start with the second. We've got a candle, Evening Mocha. It's our #1 seller. And it's heavy more on the mocha than it is on the coffee side. But the bottom of it is actually, when it's warm, it's rolled in coffee grounds. And so it's our #1. I mean, it outsells everything. So
Evening Mocha.
Evening Mocha. For January, we came out with 3 new fragrances: Coffee House, Wild Fig and Honey, and Sugar Cream Pie. I thought Wild Fig and Honey was going to kill it. Very similar to Serenity, and it hasn't been out that long. People are gravitating towards Coffee House, which surprises me because Evening Mocha has dominated that market for us. But Coffee House is literally like sticking your head in a bag of coffee beans. It is like being at ground zero in a coffee shop, and it's wild.
All right, I'm gonna need to get some Coffee House. I think the other one is Evening Mocha. Like legitimately, you go look at it on the website, and it's got the rolled coffee grounds on the bottom. It's a 2-tone candle.
Yeah, it is. It is coffee grounds, and so it's very nice coffee mocha, but it's more subdued, I guess. And the Coffee House is straight up coffee beans that we actually had to cut a little bit with some vanilla because it was a harsh coffee bean. Man.
And then is there a scent that you're like, oh, this is gonna totally crush it, and then you launched it and it flopped?
What we set out for, and I think, and kind of like I said, the Wild Fig and Honey to me is very close to Serenity in the same family. I don't really know a whole lot about fig and fig tree, but I thought that people would say, wow, that is delightful. But a lot of people really gravitate towards the food fragrances.
Yeah.
And so,
because it's easy to like grasp, I think, like I think blueberry cobbler and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Versus I think I'm like looking through one that might be a little bit harder to like wrap your head around. Like Wild Fig and Honey. I don't know. I can't that doesn't give me a thought right off the top of my head.
Gray cashmere. It's a wonderful fragrance. It would go very well here. But
Gray cashmere.
But what does gray cashmere smell like, right? And really, it is a clean another clean fragrance, but you really have to smell it. And so when you're talking about e-commerce, Serenity, gray cashmere, it's hard to really
versus something like lemon blueberry or northern pine.
Exactly.
I know what's coming there.
Yeah.
I know what's going to show up in my box.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Mother's Day is around the corner.
It is.
We have lots of young male listeners.
Yep.
What's the scent they need to get for mom, grandma? What's going to get them some serious brownie points?
The low-hanging fruit is blueberry cobbler, apple cinnamon. Those are two what I call bangers. I mean, they bring it home.
Bangers.
But if you have a coffee lover, the coffee house is great.
Yeah, and I think it's look through. How many different fragrances do you have?
So right now we've got about 30 every day and about 15 spring, summer that we're producing right now. Okay. So you'll have a choice of around 45.
You have one on here called cinnamon bun.
Cinnamon bun,
So it's basically like a cinnamon roll?
It's like a cinnamon roll, yeah. And
so let's say you're out there, you're a young guy.
Yeah.
Maybe you remember grandma's house or mom's house when they would make cinnamon rolls on Saturday mornings. You buy a cinnamon bun and they're like, thanks, sweetheart. Another Mother's Day, another candle. And you're like, but this made me think of you.
Yeah.
Because it smells just like I remember your house when I was young.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. You're the favorite grandkid. You're the favorite child.
Yeah.
All thanks to Warm Glow.
Well, and all thanks to Warm Glow. And like we talked about earlier, you can go to a big box store and buy a candle and put a bow on it and a card. But that might have been made offshore and maybe not necessarily ethically. And so now, Warm Glow is made in Indiana. We try to source all of our products domestically, all of our, from our fragrance, our colors, things like that. All of our raw material we try to get domestically. And so, and then again, if grandma is like, hey, this sucks, we're gonna take good care of you.
Yeah, you tell grandma to email Justin.
Yes.
And if she hates blueberry cobbler, he'll hook her up with Serenity.
Exactly.
There we go. All right. Tell me some of your favorite joints on the east central part of Indiana that you like to hang out at.
Newcastle, the Trojans, that's a community very similar to ours. Very used to have a lot of automotive, and that left. Newcastle has got some really great places too. Knightstown.
The Hoosier Gym.
The Hoosier Gym. And I think they open the doors there and you can actually, on your way home or whatever, can
shoot some hoops,
go in, shoot some hoops. And as long as you're respectful of the space, So Knightstown's got some really nice places. There's a lot of construction going on in between here and there. Greenfield is an awfully nice place too. There's a lot of things building up there. I like getting off those exits. I always feel safe. I always feel like there's clean places to go in and stop in. National Road 40, especially through Cambridge, when you get into Wayne County, Cambridge City, Number 9 Grill. Some of those places are, again, a part of local ownership. I'm going to talk about Five Arch Brewery in Centerville, young couple living their dream, but homemade bread and the best burgers. And so when you get off the beaten path in Indiana, you get that Hoosier hospitality.
Yeah, that is the one thing where sometimes I think Indianapolis, there's a lot of great stuff in Indianapolis, but there's so much of it that you kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
But then when you get out and you see the best Wayne County brewery, and you're like, dang, man, this thing would crush if it was in you'd be, but it's but that's what makes it so special is that you have to go out there and get off the beaten path and find it out in Wayne County.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a small town guy. Who's the longest tenured employee at Warm Glow?
Lisa Wirt and Lena Havlin. Those were hires, I believe, number 1 and 2. They are celebrating that 27-year situation. And the most amazing thing about this company, if you've been there for 3 months to 3 years, you're new. We have a lot of people that have been a part of the organization for a long time, but those two ladies are equally important and have seen a lot over the years. And I don't know what I'd do without them. Incredible people, have been glue the entire time.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
It was Lisa and
Lena.
Yeah, keep 27 years. Holy
wild.
That's they don't my generation, 27-year-olds, like they've been at Warm Glow as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
That's what people don't stay at jobs like that. Like that's loyalty that you can't find.
You're absolutely right. And it's really because they believe in it that much deeper, you know. So no, I mean, I know generations skipping around doing things like that, and but I think the reason why Warm Glow is as special as it is because of people like that.
Yeah. Amen. If you could wave a magic wand and create any scent of candle for Warm Glow, what would it be?
I have a bottle of this at home. Abercrombie Woods cologne. They stopped making, and then it was selling on eBay for like $1 bajillion. And so if people want that kind of thing that bad, if I could make a fragrance smell like the goods candies that we bring in, just that really, really unhealthy milk chocolate. I mean, oh my gosh.
And it's like, cause in something like that, it's like, it's so good, but you only want to smell it for like 15 seconds,
I know.
right?
There's a lot of smells that smell so good when you're in nature, trees and things like that. I personally love pine, love cedar. And I personally think we have the best northern pine fragrance. As much as I love chocolate, as much as I would like to capitalize off of Abercrombie Woods, it would be that cedar pine fragrance that it's just my favorite.
Heck yeah. One last question. It's our Younger Years segment.
Yeah.
It's brought to you by Friends of Our Fellowship. They're a great organization here in Indiana helping develop young business leaders across the state. Justin, what advice would you give to your 22-year-old self?
To be patient. And you always hear patience is a virtue. At 22, you believe you already have the experience. You believe that you already know it all. But wisdom is everything. And I think that relationships and patience and just understanding that you're exactly where you need to be when you're there. Yeah, I think at 22, I had all the answers, but now at 39, I realize I sadly did not.
Isn't it funny how you have less answers the older that you get, and the more but you get more success by not having the answers?
Yeah. The earth isn't as big as what we believe. I mean, we're all connected somehow. People sell to people, people work with people, so people can get you where you need to be. The answers are really simple. Being kind, understanding that, we all have a common purpose here, making something for someone else. There's a lot of honor in that. So I know that's not a one word, but I just think that we have a bigger purpose in life and way beyond counting dollar bills. Indiana, born and raised, working for one another, means the world to me.
We should just stop right there.
Yeah.
It's a mic drop moment, right? But I do have my same 3 questions that I ask everyone. That was that's amazing. And I think that is something special that you see about Indiana business owners is that they realize that it's like you could make cheaper candles, spend all your money on Google ads and Facebook ads, and like you could probably sell more candles.
100%.
But like, you could outsource all your manufacturing overseas. Like there's a lot of easier ways where you could make more money in your pockets.
Yeah.
That's not making the same impact.
Right.
And I don't think people necessarily always see that.
Yeah.
And so like when they're like, oh yeah, support local because it's the right thing. It's like, think about, there's 55 employees at Warm Glow.
Right.
Like 55 people's lives in Wayne County are being changed every single day.
Yeah.
By the fact that like you're already buying a candle for Mother's Day. Like I'm already buying them.
Yeah.
You might as well. Like I don't even see how that's an option. If you're a listener to this podcast and you buy from Amazon for candles, we have issues.
Yeah.
All right, I'm off my soapbox. Same 3 questions I ask everyone who sits in the chair. Yeah. What's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
Hoosier hospitality. People in Indiana are different. The grass is always greener on the other side. I had the opportunity when I graduated from college to work at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. I lived in Cincinnati. Great community, great town, wonderful history. But I got to live in another state, in another city, in a big city. And it wasn't until I went away and then I came back and understood that when you hear neighbors helping neighbors, Hoosier hospitality is different. And I think there is Hoosier pride there. And I get so excited going to the Indy 500 and being with 300,000 of our closest friends, you know, and there's just something about the way that we do things in this state. And so I can't tell you that we give the best tax credits or the weather is the best here, you know, et cetera. But I can just tell you that some of the best people in the entire world live in Indiana.
I saw that we ranked number 6th on the U.S. Politeness Index because we were too nice to go first.
There you go.
Right? Yeah.
No, I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like we got number 6. We're the 6th most polite state, but that's just because we're too kind to be number 1.
That's right. We had
too humble.
others. Yeah.
Next question. What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
There are wonderful, wonderful businesses and wonderful eateries.
What are the go-to spots in Wayne County? If you had to pick like 3 places to grab dinner or lunch.
So if you're in Richmond, we have what's called our Depot District, which the Depot is a train space that Martin Luther King Jr. came through. There's a picture of Joe DiMaggio eating at a restaurant with the Yankees. They stopped through. Abraham Lincoln's body came through. Different presidents had come through there on campaign stops. So in our Depot District, there's a great place. Used to be a fire station, and now it's a barbecue spot called the Firehouse Barbecue. Wonderful brisket, wonderful barbecue. It's a fire theme in an old firehouse. So wonderful place in Richmond. I talked about Five Arch Brewery on US 40 in Centerville. Wonderfully family owned. Both of them are family owned. Really enjoy those places. I had the opportunity to travel up to Michigan City recently. You know, the Indiana Dunes, really cool. We talked about the universities, awesome opportunities around there. The hidden gem, you know, I've watched the episode before and I should have been more prepared, but
no, I think you gave us some good ones. One out in Richmond, one out in Centerville, and the dunes are phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's just. I can't wait for spring and summer to turn and get out there.
Yeah.
All right, final question. You're gonna get to share the love with someone. Who's a Hoosier we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
I really appreciate what you're doing. I really do. I mean, because I really think that having this platform for Indiana companies, for Indiana people, I've watched a ton of talented people that have come through here and sat in this seat, and it's wonderful to highlight that because I've learned so much just from listening and watching. I've got a good friend at IU Bloomington, and Jason Whitney. He's done some really great stuff.
He's IU Ventures, right?
IU Ventures. He's a Richmond guy. Lost his mind and moved away from Richmond to Bloomington.
We won't hold that against him.
Yeah, but he's doing some really cool stuff there, and we text back and forth, and just some of the things that he's working on is huge, not only for IU Ventures, but for also Indiana. So if I had to come up with one person,
Jason,
it would be Jason.
He's crushing it. Yeah, super good dude. I love that. Justin, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing a little bit about the institution that is Warm Glow Candle Company. One, I'm grateful for the partnership with you all and being able to highlight everything that y'all are doing and really drive Hoosiers towards supporting the brands being built in our backyard.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it's so important. Like what you're doing is just awesome because that's what we do. And we want other Hoosiers to shop us. And so our brands are West Fork and, Hard Truth and St. Elmo's. We gotta support each other.
Yeah. Exactly. Like the local brands that are here. And this was a fun one. Yeah. It was cool learning. Yeah. I don't know. You went from healthcare to diving into all things candle company. Like what a fun almost midlife crisis, right?
Well, and healthcare, working at a hospital during COVID really opens your entire perspective of how short life is And so my recommendation to everybody is your time is very limited. And so do what you love and do it well, And so that's what I realized in 2020. And that's where I'm at today. And so, I can't wait for the next opportunity to do something great.
I love it. Well, this spring, when you release some Indiana scented candle, the sugar cream pie, checkered flag, we'll do a little collab and we'll like help blow that thing up, and we'll sell out 100 of those candles. 100 Indiana. That's we got to do that, team.
Yep.
Second, May 2nd through the 4th, there's spring open house.
Yep.
So this is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
50% off in one of the tents.
Yep.
Candles. Like go do your pre-Mother's Day shopping out there.
Absolutely.
Exit 145 on I-70. Look for the big candle.
Yep.
And man, just keep up the good work. I think that there's a lot of really cool business. Like I think a lot of people see you see Pacers and Colts and Exact Target and these brands that were built in Indianapolis. Yeah. But I really enjoy getting to know the business owners that are in Richmond, Centerville, South Bend, Evansville, these brands that are doing big things far beyond the four walls of the state of Indiana, that are being built in areas that maybe not every Hoosier's traveled to.
We're open almost every day of the year, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So the traveler can come through, but if you're in there, give me a holler. I'd love to meet as many people as I can.
Amen. Well, hey, appreciate it. Keep up all the good work, and we'll check in soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all of my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.